Hey guys, welcome into Faith in Football. My name is Neil and I will be your host today. Today, again, we are mock drafting. I'm going to try to do as many mock drafts as I can between now and August. August, we're going to try to get, I'm going to maybe get a little deeper into the mock drafting. Right now, today's episode is anticipation and expectations. So our verse of the day, and I know normally I've been playing a little music. We're going to change it up a little bit every now and then. So try to keep you on your toes. Today's verse is Luke chapter 1, verse 37. Now, I'm going to give you a little context to this. An angel has appeared to Mary, the mother of Jesus, to inform her that she's going to be pregnant through the Holy Spirit with Jesus Christ. So she's like, I can't believe this. I don't know how this can happen. I've never been with anyone. I'm a virgin. How can this be? And the angel tells her that even her cousin is pregnant right now, is in her 6th month, and that child is John the Baptist, the one who will make the path straight, the voice in the wilderness, as the scriptures had predicted. So the verse says, for the word of God will never fail. Now, let me ask you this. I know we listen to a lot of other, experts about fantasy football, about certain players. And there are some guys that we hear and we say we trust them implicitly. We put a lot of stock in their opinion, and we say we take his word as the gospel. Well, here's the thing. If we trust their word, why don't we trust the gospel itself? When the gospel tells us the good news that all who call on him will be saved. All you have to do is believe in your heart and you will be saved. So if we can believe in man, why can't we believe in God? Why do we doubt him? And you're like, I don't doubt God. I believe in God. I believe that he's, part of my life. I believe that he saved me. Well, let me ask you this. Have you ever gone out there and tried to lean on yourself when things got hard, when things got rough? Maybe right before that time when you were like, man, I got this. I'll just work a little OT to pay this bill or to pay that bill. It's okay. I got this. I don't need any help. I'm good. That's when you doubt God. That's when you don't bring everything to him. I'm talking finances, marriage, kids. How many of us have been frustrated with our teenagers? For those of you who have teenagers, when they don't listen to you, they want to do their own thing. They're being disobedient. They're being rebellious. They're just basically being a teenager. And you're at your wit's end. You don't know what to do. Well, how about before it gets there, you turn your kids over to God and you just recognize that they're not your kids. They're his. Just like it's not your money, it's his. It's not your time, it's his. And you need to ask him, how do you want me to spend my time? How do you want me to spend my money? Or I'm sorry, how do you want me to spend your time? How do you want me to spend your money? And how should I raise your kids? Because the Lord entrusts us with the money and the time and the kids and the wife or the husband if you're a female watching this. Hi, ladies. So you have to be able to you have to trust the Lord in all things. Proverbs chapter 3 verses 5 and 6 says, trust in the Lord with all your heart and lean not unto your own understanding, but in all your ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct your path. Can't be even simpler than that. All your ways, with all your heart. Lean not into your own understanding. He shall direct your path. The Bible is pretty simple. It's not really complicated. You do this, this happens. You do that, that happens. Lord says, do this. Okay, so do it. It's not that hard. We make it complicated. We want to read things into the Bible that aren't there. We want to cherry pick and just look at the verses that fit our situation and fit the way that we want things to turn out. See, here's the thing that I've learned in this past year is that, reading the Bible, getting closer to God, and turning things over to him that I should have turned over years ago, decades ago. I'm 40, almost 47 years old. I should have turned things over to him a long time ago, but I didn't. And guys, it's a lot easier when you're not the one in control. And we want to look around and we want to say, man, kids don't come with an instruction manual. There's no instruction manual for life. Yeah, there is. Let me ask you something. Do you think that the creator of the universe would make us and not show us how to run? I mean, what manufacturer do you know that makes a product and doesn't make an instruction manual to run that product? Well, he manufactured us. He gave us his word, the Bible, as an instruction manual for our life, for our kids, for our finances, for our relationships, for it all. And it's not a when in trouble, break glass type thing. It's an everyday, when you wake up, minute by minute, second by second instruction manual that you've got to stay on top of. We are a high maintenance manufactured product. Okay. We need a lot of help. We need a lot of assistance. We need a lot of fine tuning throughout our life. Okay. We break down real easy. We need to stay up on our maintenance. So I hope that opened your eyes a little bit, guys. And let me ask you this. If we listen, when we do our mock drafting, when we listen to these experts about certain players, and we listen to the experts, and our anticipation grows as we go to draft them, what if we took the same approach with God's will? What if we listen to him as intently as we listen to other people that we put value on? There should be no one that you put more value on than God. If there is, maybe you need to take a look at yourself. I know I do time to time. So remember, trust in him, and remember that the word of God will never fail. So with that said, let's get into some mock drafting, okay? Now we're going to talk a little bit about some perception and some reality, okay? So some of you might be new out there, and welcome. I'm glad that you decided to dive into the fantasy world here in fantasy football. So some of you out there might have done a little research and figured out that quarterbacks score the most fantasy points. That's great. Now you might also go, well, gee, if that's the case, then I need to draft a quarterback early in order to score the most points. Here's the thing. I was watching Fantasy Pros, and they were talking about thinking about your lineup vertically or horizontally, and it got me thinking. I do that a lot, where I think about, who do I have on my roster? Who's my quarterback? Who's my running back? Who's my wide receiver? Who's my tight end? Well, here's the thing, is that that's great to be cognizant of that, to be aware of that. But when you play fantasy football, unless you're playing in a format where it's most points wins the week, a lot of times you're playing head to head, which means that your quarterback has to be better than his quarterback. Your wide receiver just has to be better than the other guy's wide receiver. Your tight end just has to be better than the other guy's tight end, and so forth and so on. That is thinking horizontally, not vertically. Okay, because you can have some good pieces in your roster, but if the guy playing you has a much better running back, has a kind of okay wide receiver, has a phenomenal tight end, and has a otherworldly quarterback, guess what? You're probably going to lose, because positionally you can't match up. And you go, okay, well, I can just draft, the best players at each position. I'll just reach early. Here's the thing, is that when you do that, let's say that you reach for a Travis Kelce or a Pat Mahomes or Josh Allen, or if you're in the first part of the draft, you're lucky enough to get one of those, premier running backs, because there's only really about 2 or 3 of them that are really positional advantage running backs. Okay. I'm talking CMC, Dalvin Cook, on certain level, Derrick Henry, but it's Dalvin Cook and CMC and then everyone else. Okay. Those are really the only 2 guys that you're going to get that have any real positional advantage. Okay. Derrick Henry really isn't involved in the run game. Alvin Kamara really has a lot of questions this year. There's no Drew Brees. How is he going to be used? You don't know. That's why I always encourage people that when you do your mock drafting, you do it as close to the season start as possible. I myself, in my league of record, we have our draft the Tuesday before the Thursday night kickoff. Okay. And you're like, man, that's really close. Well, here's the thing. All the preseason games are over. All the lineup issues have been solved. You're going to know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers. Well, why is that important? Because what's going on with Aaron Rodgers is going to affect Devontae Adams and Aaron Jones and Robert Tonyan. So you're talking about 3 positions right there that are extremely important for your draft. So if you go into a draft and you don't know what's going on with Aaron Rodgers, then you don't know what's going on with Devontae Adams, and you're taking a flyer real early because somebody's going to take him in the first round regardless, because they're going to play instead of playing it safe, they're going to go out on a limb and they're going to risk it, because Devontae Adams is a generational player. Okay. So I looked at some stats real quick, and I used the Fantasy Pros ADP, which is average draft position rankings. Just go in and Google it. Google Fantasy ADP, and it'll come up. But here's the thing, is that when you draft quarterbacks, running backs, or whatever, your number ones in a 12-man league, you've got 12 top quarterbacks. You're going to have top 12 RB1s. Wide receiver 1s is 1 through 12. Tight ends are 1 through 12. Your running back 2s and your wide receiver 2s, your backups, or your second guys that you're going to draft, not your backups, I'm sorry, are going to be 13 through 24. Now, You might think, okay, well, hey, top 12, I'll get one guy, right? Maybe not. The top running backs are gone, 1 through 12, are gone by the second round. The rest of them are gone in the next 4 rounds. So wait a minute, hold on. 12 running backs, 2 rounds. The next 12 in twice as many. You know what that means? You're picking all your wide receivers. So your wide receivers, your top 12 are gone in first 3 rounds. Your next 12 are gone in 5 rounds, which is only 2 more. So there's a lot of wide receivers taken in the top. So if you're playing PPR, and this was the ADP that I looked at, was the PPR rankings. It's going to adjust a little bit if you're doing either half PPR or standard scoring. Okay, if you're doing standard scoring, then the points per reception, which is PPR, they really don't matter. So it's going to push the wide receivers down a little bit. It's going to make running backs a little more valuable. In the PPR rankings, you're going to have wide receivers who are involved in the pass game a lot more valuable, and guys like Derrick Henry, he has a really high volume, but guys who are like him that aren't involved in the passing game as much, they're not going to be as valuable. Okay. So you might be thinking, okay, well, what kind of quarterback can I get if I wait? What kind of running back can I expect to get, and when is he going? I'll look that up for you guys too. The number 12 quarterback is Matt Stafford, according to Fantasy Pros. He's going 87th overall is his average ADP. Okay. He's now number 12 quarterback as the 87th pick. Now, where's the 87th pick? The 87th pick is around the start of the 8th round. Now, around the back half of the 8th round. Now, the number 12 running back is Najee Harris, rookie out of Pittsburgh. He's going as the 17th overall, about halfway through the 2nd round. Now, who's the 24th guy if you wait on him? It's only 12 spots, right? Shouldn't be that far of a talent drop-off. It's Myles Gaskin. What? Myles Gaskin. You go from Najee Harris to Myles Gaskin in the middle of the 5th round. It's only 3 rounds more. So Allen Robinson is the number 12 wide receiver. He's going top of the 4th at 39th overall. And then only 21 picks later, you've got your number 24 going at the end of the 5th, beginning of the 6th, in Deontay Johnson. Your number 12 tight end, Evan Ingram, at 112. That's right, 112. Middle of the 10th round. This is why I tell you guys that unless you're getting Kittle, Kelsey, or let's see, pretty much Kittle and Kelsey, and Darren Waller, unless you're getting one of those 3, you can pretty much wait. If you believe in TJ Hockenson this year, as I do, you're probably going to have to pick up a little bit for him. Also Kyle Pitts, because there's just so much hype. But even Travis Kelce said that he wasn't ready for the NFL. Now, here's the thing. Kyle Pitts isn't Travis Kelce. He's probably going to be used in a little different way. However, you also have a new head coach In Atlanta, new OC. They might not be using Kyle Pitts the way you thought they were. Now, yes, Julio Jones is gone. There's going to be a lot more targets. I don't doubt that they're going to have to throw the ball because their defense is just going to be horrible. But if you want to rely on a rookie tight end, go right ahead. I won't be mad at you, especially with it being Kyle Pitts. I get buying into the hype. I'm kind of on the edge myself. So, with that said, I want to take a second and I want to thank Zia of Lafayette for being our sponsor today. Now, Zia of Lafayette, if you're in the Lafayette, Louisiana area, go by and see them. They're on Ducey Road, behind the Grand Theater off of Johnston, right in front of Red Laurel's Health Club. Look, you want to call them up. Phone number is 406-0013. You can place a to-go order. You can find them on Waiter. You can, if I'm not mistaken, you can find them on DoorDash. Or you can go in and see them in person. I recommend go down and seeing them in person. Trust me, they take all the health precautions that they need to. They abide strictly by the CDC guidelines. Go by and see Leonard and Heath, all the guys down there. Tell them that Faith in Football sent you, and I'm working on a new little promo for them where you can get a free appetizer if you mention Faith in Football when you go down there, but it's not until August. So stay tuned down the bottom, subscribe, like, and share so you'll know when you can go down and mention Faith in Football and get your free appetizer from Zia of Lafayette. They are my first sponsor, longtime sponsor. I appreciate those guys greatly. So please go down and see them. They've got some great new menu items. They got a huli huli chicken that just came out. It's got a huli huli sauce on it. If you don't know, it's a little Hawaiian type deal. You got a little roasted coconut on top of it. It's delicious. And also they have a trout mock shoe. Look, if you're in Louisiana, you know what a mock shoe is. If you don't, go look it up. I'm a Yankee. I really can't explain it too well to you, but look it up. It is delicious. It's awesome. And it goes over top of their grits. Look, if I could walk around with some grits in my pocket from Zia, I wouldn't have to pay for about half the things in that city. That's how good they are. Promise. Okay. So that said, let's get into some mock drafting, and we'll go ahead and I'm going to set the timer for 3 minutes. Kind of allow me a little time to do a little analysis of each pick. We're going to be picking from the number 4 spot today. We'll see what type of plan that I have that we can actually put into practice. Okay, guys. I know last time we had a little technical difficulties, so hopefully we have all of that worked out this go around. Let's go ahead and kick this off. So, like I said earlier, Dalvin Cook, McCaffrey, and there's Alvin Kamara. Now, this leaves me with a very interesting proposition where I can go Derrick Henry, Jonathan Taylor, or Saquon. Now, here's the thing. I don't particularly care for Saquon just for the simple fact that I don't like what they've done in the offseason. They've added Tony, the wide receiver, the rookie wide receiver, Kadarius Toney. That's he's got that one of those names that you just cannot remember, but you just know it's not a everyday name. Kadarius Toney was drafted early. So are they really trying to bring in more weapons for Daniel Jones for this to be a make or break year for him? How much are they going to lean on Saquon, and how healthy is he? Because he had a interview earlier this week where he declined to comment about the progress of his rehab. So that leads me to believe one of two things. One, he just doesn't want you to know because ain't none of your business. Number two, he's not where he wants to be. Now, in the first round, you've really got to hit on your draft pick. So I'm going to take a guy who is Mr. Dependability, and that's Derek Yeti, because as colder it gets, the better he performs. Shout out to the fantasy footballers for the nickname. Now we see Kelsey going here at the end of the first round. After I pick, we have Saquon, Jonathan Taylor, Nick Chubb, and then back-to-back wide receivers Tyreek Hill and Devontae Adams, followed by Aaron Jones and Zeke Elliott. Now we see Team 12 go basically wide receiver, and that's fine. The only problem is they're doing it from the 12 spot at the turn, which means that they have the entire third round, not to mention the rest of the second, for all of these running backs to just go off the board. That's crazy. You're not going to get any kind of running back in the third round, at the end of the third round, that's worth anything. Very few workhorses are going to slip that far. Followed by Metcalf after Kelsey at the turn. Then Eckler, Diggs, Jefferson, back to running back with Joe Mixon, and then we go back to wide receiver with with A.J. Brown and DeAndre Hopkins, followed by our first quarterback off the board, Patrick Mahomes. Now, this is what I'm talking about when I say positional advantage, okay? Patrick Mahomes, Travis Kelce, positional advantage players. It's really important that if you're going to target these guys, you do it early. Yes, you're going to reach on them, but if these are the guys that you want, then you've got to jump up and get them, okay? So, next guy off of my board, I'm at the short turn. I really, 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 really like Cam Akers, but I'm going to go Najee. I haven't had a chance to draft him in any of the other drafts that I did. And we see here that Akers went right off the board after that. And then Calvin Ridley, J.K. Dobbins. Now, look. Pardon me. I know a lot of people like J.K. Dobbins. A lot of people are high on him. And yes, he is on the team with the most rushing attempts in the NFL by a wide margin. However, his quarterback is basically the RB1. So I don't know how comfortable I would feel taking J.K. Dobbins in the second round. Now, if he slips to the fourth, great. Then he takes George Kittle, another positional advantage player. And then Miles Sanders going in the third round and Swift right after him. Neither one of these picks I like. If we look at the board real quick, you see Antonio Gibson's out there. CEH is out there. Josh Jacobs is now, I'll take Josh Jacobs back. I really don't like him this year because they just don't use him right. And it's Vegas. I mean, I'm pretty much starting to sound like the comments about the Jets from last year. It's the Jets. It's the Raiders. Yeah, I just don't like the job they're doing. So, here we go. Now, Michael Thomas is the pick here that they're recommending. However, I don't trust the quarterback play. The play I do trust is in San Diego. I'm in San Diego. It's really hard for me to say LA when referring to the Chargers. But the LA Chargers, I'd like Justin Herbert. And we see Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson being taken in the fourth. Now, this is jumping up and reaching for those players because your quarterbacks typically are going to go in the sixth, okay? Now, Team 11, I can see taking him simply because it's early. The thing I don't see why they're taking him is you could wait, because it's not like they're trying to double up. Okay, if you were trying to double up, if you had Stephon Diggs, great. Now, what they could be doing is trying to prevent Team 10 from getting Josh Allen, but you fall into really dangerous territory when you allow someone else's team to dictate what you do. Don't try to run someone else's team in the draft. Don't try to look at the board and go, ooh, I don't want them to get this person, so I'll take them, and miss out on someone that you really want. Remember, it's your team and you want to have fun. So what kind of fun are you going to have if you're sitting there with a whole group of people that you don't want? Now, after my pick of Keenan Allen, we see Michael Thomas go off the board. We see Darren Waller go off the board, CEH, Allen Robinson, Antonio Gibson, Josh Jacobs, David Montgomery, Mike Evans. Now, David Montgomery, we probably could have waited on till this round. That's a little early for me. Mike Evans, Terry McLaurin. We should talk about Josh Allen. Julio Jones in the 4th round is definitely a value pick, okay? Now, my next one, I really, really, really want this guy, so I'm going to jump up and get him because I don't want to see him disappear, and that's Ja'Marr Chase. I like Ja'Marr Chase. I like the breakout potential that he has, and we see Kyle Pitts and Mark Andrews going back-to-back here. I'm not really sure how I feel about that one. I think that Mark Andrews is not going to be what you're wanting him to be. We see Travis Etienne off the board in round 5. When you anybody, pretty much any rookie running back other than Najee Harris, because Najee is going to be a workhorse running back. That's just what he was drafted for, okay? Plus, they're going to be using him in the passing game because Big Ben is an aging quarterback that needs that. Travis Etienne, he's going to be a gadget guy. He's with a college coach making his first dip into the pros, plus the fact that they already have James Robinson. So how is that going to work out? In Najee's case, Pittsburgh doesn't have anyone behind him that's going to be pushing him for any kind of carries. They're not going to be cutting in. And Mike Tomlin does not like having a quarterback by committee type system. So let's check out, see what kind of wide receivers we've got left. We've got DJ Moore, Adam Thielen. Look, Adam Thielen at some point in time is going to fall off, okay? Now, what I do want to do is I want to check out my running backs left. We have Kareem Hunt, James Robinson, Javonte Williams. Now, Javonte Williams, I think we can wait a little bit on, but we got a long ways before our turn. So I want to jump up and I want to get a good flex guy in Kareem Hunt. Now we see Galladay go off the board. I'm not big on Daniel Jones this year. I was last year. I thought that he could be really be something. Maybe after a little more analysis, we'll see. We see TJ Hawkinson. And Hawkinson, he's that tight end that if you believe in him, you're going to reach. Okay. And then we see James Robinson go off the board, Dak Prescott go. Now, Prescott was a little bit early. You might have been able to wait on him. And then we see Myles Gaskin go. My boy, Justin Herbert. I love Justin Herbert this year, guys. And then we see nothing but wide receivers. I want you guys to notice this. Is from round 4 to now in round 6, just 2 rounds, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18 wide receivers taken in just 3 rounds. Not even 3 full rounds yet. Okay? Call it 2.5. That's a lot. this is where all of your guys disappear at, okay? So let's see what we've got left over. And this is what I talk about when I say trends. You see the trend that started here with the team 11 and went down to team 5. Everybody went, oh my gosh, we have to get a wide receiver. Okay, so let's see what we've got. Now, I've already got Jamar Chase. I'm not going to double up with T. Higgins. However, Courtland Sutton this late as my wide receiver 3, I'm good with that. Now we see Javonte Williams go off the board. Chase Edmonds. There's T. Higgins. Melvin Gordon. Now look, you see Javonte Williams and Melvin Gordon going really close together. I don't like Melvin Gordon this year because they drafted Javonte Williams. They're really high on this kid. He's got the physical ability to do what they need him to do. And Melvin Gordon, remember, could be facing suspension for off-field indiscretion. So we have to see how that plays out as well. Raheem Mostert, look, that's a really crowded backfield in San Fran. They drafted Trey Sermon. I would rather go ahead and wait on Trey Sermon. You could probably get him in the 9th or 10th round, maybe even farther than that sometimes if your league mates are not paying attention. You can get him then. Jaylen Waddle is a very interesting pick, just for the simple fact that, you don't know what's going on with Tua. You don't know how he's going to progress, if he's going to progress, positively or negatively. Okay. Now, what I want to do here, let's look at what we have left in quarterback, because we're kind of getting a little down there. At this point, as it stands, there's a lot of question marks about Aaron Rodgers. Okay. So you've got Aaron Rodgers, Trevor Lawrence, Joe Burrow, Tom Brady, and Matt Stafford. Now, here's what I want to do is I want to go ahead and reach. I'll reach for Matt Stafford because I believe in the power of Sean McVay. And we see some tight ends going here early. I really don't like it. Sorry, I just got distracted because I saw Mike Davis go off the board, and I was really hoping he would fall to me in the 8th round, but he didn't. Ronald Jones went with the 12th overall pick right after I picked Stafford. Fournette's gone. Now, here's the thing is that there's 2 school of thoughts on Fournette. One, he's out of gas and he's not going to perform like you saw him in the Super Bowl. Thought number 2 is that he joined the team late last year. It took him a while to catch on, but when he did, he was on fire. However, Ronald Jones is still there. Okay, and we see Ronald Jones taken with the 12th pick at the end of the 7th round. Okay, in between that, you had Rodgers go off the board, so someone believes in Rodgers. Jerry Jeudy, Chase Claypool, Noah Fant, Kenyon Drake, who I don't want any part of, Dallas Goedert. I can't trust Jalen Hurts in Philly. I just can't do it. Brandon Cooks, who is the only person left in Houston, Mike Davis, Laviska Shenault, who now has a rookie quarterback who was actually taking the pick right after him in Trevor Lawrence. Then James Conner, again, don't want any part of that. Mike Gesicki, I like David Johnson, but only if they thin out that running back room. And then Zach Moss, who I don't want any part of in Buffalo because they are a throw first team. Now, here's one I do like. I'm even right now on wide receivers. So let's go ahead. We'll take another one in Jarvis Landry. I like Jarvis. I think he's going to come back. Now, Will Fuller. Look, guys, Will Fuller, he's not playing with Deshaun Watson anymore. He's playing with Tua. He's in Miami. There's a lot of mouths to feed there. They just brought in Waddle. And this team right here is not something that I recommend. He doubled up on Miami wide receivers. That's not something you want to do, but you have to pay attention, because what you're going to do is you're going to get in the draft, you're going to start panicking, and you're going to go, ooh, there's Will Fuller. He was really good last year. Let me take him, without thinking, I just took Jaylen Waddle in the pick before. Why do I want two wide receivers from the same team? Very few quarterbacks can help support two fantasy relevant wide receivers. There's just a handful of them that can do it. My boy Justin Herbert, yes, he can. Okay, I'm going to show you, because I haven't seen this guy disappear yet. So I'm hoping that he's still going to be there later on when I pick him. Now, this is going to be one of my, I'm reaching and I'm hoping on this guy. I'm going to take Damian Harris, and a lot of guys out there who know the history of the Patriots backfield are going, no, why would you do that? Well, here's the thing. If Damian Harris is the running back one for New England, and he's there, whether it be with Cam Newton, he's still going to be productive. He might have a few goal line carries sniped from him by Cam Newton. However, they drafted Mac Jones. They drafted him early. And I believe that Cam Newton is going to be on a very short leash in New England. So if he just has a little bit of a mess up, I believe that Mac Jones is going to step in, and Damian Harris will be a bell cow type running back. And if you're getting a workhorse running back in the 9th round, that's really, really something, guys. Okay? So after him, we see Tom Brady, Marquise Brown, Deshaun Watson. Why anyone's picking him, I don't know. Big Irv Smith, Gronk, Logan Thomas is gone. We see Michael Pittman, Robbie Anderson, Bateman from Baltimore, Jalen Hurts, Curtis Samuel, Deebo Samuel, Michael Gallup, Ryan Tannehill, who is a very good late pick. And this is even his QB2. And then Logan Thomas, A.J. Dillon, Devontae Parker, who I have absolutely no faith in this year. So let's see who we've got at quarterback. Oh, I'm sorry. I already picked my quarterback. See, we have a tight end left. Robert Tonyan. Now, there's a guy on here that I like, but we're going to check out wide receiver. And here he is, ladies and gentlemen, Mike Williams. I know what you're saying. Mike Williams gets hurt a lot, but he is with one of those rare quarterbacks who I believe can actually sustain two fantasy relevant quarterbacks. And yes, I doubled up by taking Keenan Allen and Mike Williams. But as I said, he is with a quarterback who can sustain that. And if I'm playing as I am now in a 2-flex system with 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, then I can have Mike Williams as my flex, Keenan Allen as my wide receiver, and then put in either Sutton or Landry as my other wide receiver, check out the matchups and see if I'm going to start both of them or one of them, and Jamar Chase as my number 2. Okay. So what I need right now is I need a tight end. Let's see what we've got. We got Hunter Henry. Look, there's two tight ends in New England. Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith. You see Jonnu Smith down there a little later. I believe more in Jonnu Smith. I don't believe in Evan Ingram. And more importantly, I don't believe in Daniel Jones. Okay. So let's see what we've got for leftover for running back. See how much time I got left. Here we go. I like Latavius Murray's upside, especially if anything happens to Alvin Kamara. Now, that is what we call a handcuff, okay? If you're taking a handcuff, then you want it to be from one of the top guys in the league, okay? Now we see Hooper go off the board, Zach Ertz go off the board, Higbee's gone, Henry's gone. What I'm looking at now is I'm looking tight end. Let's see if he's there. Yes, he is. Jonnu Smith would be the one that I would pick here. However, here's what I like. Jared Everett out of LA. He's off the Rams. And I know what you're thinking, why not take Higbee? Why wouldn't you concentrate on Higbee? Here's the thing. Matt Stafford likes to push the ball down the field. Yes, he made TJ Hockenson, but it was Galladay, Hockenson, and that was pretty much about it. Okay, yes, you had Marvin Jones thrown in there every once in a while, but he got hurt a lot. So I like Jared Everett. Let's go ahead and take him, and I'll trust in them going. And we see defense go off the board right now with the Buccaneers. Now, defenses, there's two that I like, and we'll see if they can fall back to me. And a lot of people, you see we see Troutman from New England. I'm sorry, New Orleans, taken there. And a lot of people are really high on him this year. You see Kenneth Gainwell. Look, there's a really crowded backfield in Philly with a new coaching regime, and I'm just really not comfortable taking that kind of player. I'm just not. Plus the fact that this guy's just got a lot of rookies late. He's taking a lot of flyers, and maybe something will pan out. That's what you call a shotgun drafting. You just a widespread, and you just hope something hits. He took Trey Sermon, Justin Fields, Elijah Moore, who I really do like, and then Kenneth Gainwell. That's just a lot of rookies, guys. So let's see who I got here for my number 2 quarterback. Now, my boy, Ryan Fitz. I like taking him. I'm not going to take him in the mock drafting. They're just for the simple fact that you guys already know that I like him. Let's see what we've got for wide receivers left. Here we go. I'll go ahead and I'll take a flyer on Gus Edwards. Let's see if defense, there's my one defense that's not going to fall to me. My Washington football team. Now, Chuba Hubbard right here in the 14th round, I like the pick because that's the handcuff to CMC. And we all saw what Mike Davis did last year. We see the Steelers go off the board. We see the Niners go off the board. If you want somebody here, and I don't know why this does it, but basically the number 2 defense, in my opinion, is the Rams. So I'm taking the Rams next to last round. And that's what you can do a lot of times, guys, is if you really want a defense, if you've got a 15-round draft, take them in the 13th because everybody that you're taking at this point in time is disposable. If you find out that, hey, they're not what you wanted in the first game or the first couple of games, you can drop them. They're not that important, okay? So guys like T.Y. Hilton, Jamal Williams, Gus, I like holding on to Gus just for the simple fact that he just got paid, he just got extension, and you know that he's going to do good, okay? He has fantasy relevance. Plus, if J.K. Dobbins goes down, you got yourself a workhorse running back on the highest rushing attempt team in the league. Jalen Reagor, Cole Beasley, guys like that, taking this late, they're just flyers, guys. Now, like I said, I do like the Jared Cook here. I don't like doubling up on tight ends. I think that's ridiculous. I think you can pretty much get anybody else that you want. So let's go and see what we've got left at quarterback, because this is my backup. Okay. What I like here, you guys know, you already heard me talk about Daniel Jones and how I don't like him. Okay. But the guy right below him, Zach Wilson, I'll take a flyer on this rookie. Okay. I like him. There's just some, and I can't explain it. It's one of those things that you just can't explain. So there's our draft. We saw myself take Zach Wilson, and then nothing but pretty much defenses taken at the end: the Titans, the Patriots, the Seahawks. Then Tyree Cohen. Now, this is very interesting. Tyree Cohen is supposed to be the backup to David Montgomery, but it's supposed to be a timeshare. More of a timeshare is more as opposed to a 1-2. It's more like a 1A and 1B. That's how they've been interpreted. However, it has come out that he's really not physically ready coming back from injury. So he's fallen, and you can see that he's fallen all the way to the last pick. It's situations like that. If you want to take a flyer on that last pick, and flyers like that, and see how it works out, that's fine. But just be aware that if you do that, you're taking up a roster spot that you could use for a very valuable commodity later on. Okay. So pretty much set your threshold to where you want to hold on to him, and at what point do you just cut him and let him go and cut your losses and move on. Okay. It's really hard to do with big names. My boy D Money last year had Zeke Elliott, and he could not get rid of him for anything. He kept hanging on to him, and he just kept hurting his team because he had a really down year. If you have big names like that come up, here we go. If you have big names like that are not working out for you, you've got to be able to walk away from those big names. You cannot just hang on to a name. You've got to hang on to a productive player. If that productive player has a new name, then you've got to go with that guy. Okay. You cannot hold on to a great old name with no new production. Okay. Remember that. That's for later on in the year. Put a little pin in this one, come back to it. Okay, guys. So that's our draft. I hope it was informative. Remember, I do love doing custom mock drafts. So you're like, wait a minute, a custom mock draft? How is that possible? Down at the bottom, when you subscribe, like, or share, or subscribe, like, and share, leave a comment and let me know what kind of draft you want me to do, whether you want me to do a full PPR, a half PPR, a standard scoring league, how many teams, and what position you want to see me draft from. You guys can control it all. I'll be here for you, and I'll give analysis of the draft from that position. Okay. You can also tell me if you want to go in with kind of a very strict, I want to go running back, wide receiver, and then my quarterback. Very traditional. Or if you want to, what the fantasy footballers say is stay water, which is stay flexible throughout the draft and see what falls to you, which is what I always recommend, because you're really never sure what you're going to get. And if you stick very stringently to that running back, then wide receiver, you're not going to get the guys that you want to get, and you can possibly pass up on some real value later on. So keep those things in mind. I hope that today's scripture was uplifting and eye-opening for you. Remember, it's Luke 1:37, for the word of God will never fail. And remember, I'm always here for you guys. I'm not leaving. You know God's not leaving. So I'm here for you guys. If you want to talk anything other than football, I'm also open to that. And remember, you can find me on Twitter at Faith and Football. You can leave a comment down below, and I'd love to hear from you guys. So hit me up. Appreciate it. You guys have an awesome day, and we will see you next time on Faith and Football.